Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Thingy's Tech Talk, where we talk about all things tech. I'm Jeff Bromley.
And I'm Rob Barra.
And we're here today to talk about Apple's Spring Loaded event that just took place this past Tuesday.
Yes, Apple has announced all sorts of nifty things. A new iMac with lots of fancy colors, harkening back to their days of yore. A new color of the iPhone, purple, if you're into that. Not to bury the lead, but some of the neater stuff, I think personally, is in the mobile technology stuff, between a fancy new iPad Pro with the M1 processor and my personal favorite, the Apple TV, a device I use literally every day. They released a new version of that, so
yeah,
lots to talk about.
Yeah, let's take it from the top. So first off, we'll talk about something a little bit more obscure. Apple has they're revamping their podcasting system, allowing for content creators to have subscription content.
Yes.
This is going to kind of break the mold for how people get their content and their podcasts, maybe relying less on sponsors and more on viewership, allowing people to kind of select what it is that they want to hear. There'll still be, I'm sure, the freemium and ad-supported podcast, but this is really interesting for people that want to, pay for their most popular podcast. I just hope that they're not going to be $10 each, because I'm not going to spend, if I got 3 or 4, that's way too much of as far as a subscription per month.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is really a response to Spotify and some of the other content aggregators putting together different things. I know Joe Rogan being special on Spotify has been a big thing. Previously there were, you didn't have to pay for a platform, but now as podcasting becomes even more mainstream, more people are looking to monetize things. More people are looking to sign exclusivity deals, and Apple is letting people get in on that front, which is a good thing. I mean, it'll help with competition. It'll help with the market. It definitely adds another avenue for folks that aren't willing to or able to really sell out. So.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. I'm interested to see whether Apple can potentially go with a corporate play to have corporate sponsored podcasts that are only delivered to your team. But, time will tell, and see whether they're going to support the enterprise or whether the enterprise is going to want to pay for something like that. So it should be interesting.
Personally, I'd be happy with them continuing to use iDetail to distribute their company podcasts to their people, but that's another story for another day.
All right, next up, we don't have a lot to say about the iPhone. The iPhone, it's purple.
Yes. If you've been waiting for a purple phone, now's your chance.
Okay. Next up, we have potentially something that is going to be a huge competitor to the Tile. Which is going to have Apple's level of security and encryption. What do they call it? The AirTag.
The AirTag.
Yes.
Yes. So Apple has jumped into the location device market with their new AirTag. It looks a little bit like a small battery, and apparently you can put it places. It has a speaker, Bluetooth Low Energy, and all sorts of things. Very similar to the round tile that I have stuck to my Apple TV remote that I keep losing, or that my children keep losing. But it's interesting. They've come out with a line of fancy looking tags that you can hang your AirTag on your keychain or your luggage or something of that nature. It'd be interesting to see what the uptake is. Obviously Tile is very established in this market. They have definitely a reasonable price point. The one thing that I did notice about the AirTag that I thought was interesting versus Tile, because I do have a number of Tiles in my house, these have user serviceable batteries. The AirTag does. Typically the Tile is one and done. It dies, you toss it or recycle it, appropriately, as you're sort of implored to through the app. But I'm sure people don't do that. So it'll be interesting to see how this works and how they hold up and all that good stuff. So
well, and the one thing that you said, which reminds me of the next thing we're talking about, is the Apple TV. You'll no longer need to put a Tile on the Apple TV remote, because it won't be so teeny tiny. It won't fall between the cracks of your couch, which I can't tell you how many times I've had to take the sectional apart underneath the recliner to actually find this damn thing.
But will it chirp if you try to hit it with your Find My app.
We'll see. But at least
that'll be interesting.
And it actually has a button. Rather than, I'm sorry, Apple, you guys kind of did not do a great job with this touchy thingy, whatever remote. It didn't really work well. So, yeah.
Now, one thing I think is nice. So, okay, let's talk a little bit about the new Apple TV. The new Apple TV, again, 4K. It's got the which processor in is the A12 something.
Yes.
So probably it's in there. You know, you've got Dolby Vision support. You have a few other high-end
HDR support.
HDR support. You know, a lot of the features that were missing from what their flagship was that hadn't been updated in quite a few years. So it'll be interesting to see how this works. I know Jeff was kind of geeking out about the color calibration using your iPhone.
Yes.
I thought that was a pretty neat feature. I'm looking forward to not listening to my wife and buying a new television that will take advantage of some of these features, as well as some of the features of the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X that I am fortunate enough to waste a lot of time on. So
now that you have a full ecosystem of devices, it's time to upgrade the display. You didn't go display first.
The other thing that's nice about some of these newer televisions, a lot of them have HomeKit support. So rather than having the elaborate, Logitech setup that I have to be able to allow my children and myself to turn my TV off with my voice, I'll actually be able to do it with my phone, and that'll make my life a lot easier, because I think Logitech has discontinued some of the hardware around some of those things. So
the Harmony IR Blaster or whatever it is that you were using.
Yes, the Harmony Hub that I have is probably on its last legs at this point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at least you can get, I mean, I know that the OLED TV that you want from CES, if you could have it by Friday, Rob.
I could. Yes.
You could have it by the time we put this video out.
Actually, I looked at it, and if I want to drive to Piscataway, I can have it today, but I don't think I'm doing that.
All right. So enough about the Apple TV. I think if you've got the right equipment, it's definitely worth the upgrade. I'm still running, my projector in my basement is still 720p. I haven't upgraded. I haven't updated anything. So for me, 4K is not doing me anything. But if
low res for the win, apparently.
Low res. Come on. I mean, cable TV doesn't even broadcast in 720p. So
I understand. It's a problem.
So yes, it is a problem. All right. So moving on to the next thing, the Mac. Well, actually, the iMac. The iMac has the M1 chip. But what? It's only 21 inches. It's not even the 27-inch model.
Yeah. So it's a smaller one. All I can imagine is that has to do with component shortages that are affecting many industries right now. I would assume that they would want to be in that market pretty soon. It's interesting because so many people, I mean, you talk about graphics chips and all this other stuff when the Bitcoin and Ethereum going through the roof, and basically people buying all of the fancy graphics cards with bots and reselling them for $4,000 or whatever. There's a lot of issues around components right now for the computing industry, especially in video. So I'm sure that has something to do with it too.
Yeah. Well, let's hope that the chip manufacturers can start to do things offshore. So maybe they've got to do some of the manufacturing here back in the States. I don't know. I have a feeling that who knows? I mean, I know that
I hear infrastructure is a big push again. So I don't know. Yeah. I keep hearing that.
Yeah. So maybe in Arizona, Intel will start spinning up and doing chips again. I don't know whether they ever stopped, but who knows? Maybe they can up their
there's certainly
capacity.
A demand.
Yes.
Certainly a demand once they can get those fabs rolled out.
Yes, and keep my my measly stocks that I got many years ago from my employee program. Actually get them above water. It's taken quite some time.
So the other interesting thing about the iMacs, they've all got fancy new colors. Again, going back to the days of all the different colored iMacs that were made out of plastic and really kind of revolutionized things. Towards that was really a big step in Apple's sort of reemergence prior to the iPhone, of course. And it's interesting to see all those different colors. I thought the red one was cute, but again, just like Jeff said, for me as a business user or a power user, that small of a screen, not so great. But I'll tell you what, there are several people that I know, some of whom I'm related to, could absolutely benefit from having a machine of that size, because they don't need to sit in front of it all the time.
Yep.
But
yeah, they've upgraded their front FaceTime camera to 1080p.
That's nice. Yes.
About time, Apple.
It's about time.
Bravo. Way to get with the program here. So
finally
you'll look good on your Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or WebEx calls. You'll look even better.
Yes. Then maybe even FaceTime calls, because I think that's exactly what Apple wants you to use.
Yeah, well, come on. Well, the one thing that I thought, being in video for so many years, you'll actually be able to do 8K editing in real time. Now, I don't know whether this is going to be with Adobe's software, if it's going to be Apple specific. That's
sure,
really
Final Cut.
Yeah, so
sure,
we'll see. Cut. Well, come on. Most of the industry is using Premiere, and they use the Adobe Creative Cloud. So
but I mean, does the iPhone even shoot in 8K? Like, where are you even generating 8K content from?
Your phone I don't know. I thought that.
I'm not sure, honestly. I'd have to look.
I know that the older phones do 4K. I don't know. Well, who knows? Maybe that's why you need the new fancy iPad.
maybe that's it. Yes. So the new fancy iPad. Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
New M1 processor. So the same exact processor that is in the newer model MacBook Pro is in the new model iMac, is also in the iPad Pro. So that's a very interesting thing. I guess what they're targeting there, along with that fancy keyboard that they have, they are targeting the group of people that can get by without a full computer, but can make it work with a tablet and a keyboard, honestly, that almost are as expensive as a laptop would be. So
it is as expensive as a laptop would be.
Yeah. I mean, you can get 2 terabytes of storage, which is absolutely 4 times what I have in my laptop. It's got
65,000. What is it? 65,000 Pro RAW pictures.
Something like that. Yes.
That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, okay. So photographers, yes, you can absolutely make use of that. You can do your color corrections on your tablet, and and it's a high quality screen and all those good things. So that I could certainly see a use case for that there. For a normal user, I mean, again, I'm still using the second generation iPad Pro. It works fine. I don't have any issues or any problems with it. It works everything I want it to do. So it's it doesn't seem to be for me, but I'm sure there are certainly use cases out there for it.
They now have a Thunderbolt port on it, so transferring data in. They were doing full 8K editing on whatever, I don't know what software they were using on the iPad, but it piped out full HDR to an external monitor, and they were editing on it. So the lines are getting blurred between a traditional Mac and the MacBook and the iPad for the professional to determine what it is that they need while they're on the go. And the iPad is
right.
It's super.
Well, yeah.
slim.
I mean, I could certainly see it for video production on location. Having the ability to use that type of thing there and do color correction and have a real high quality screen. Can act as a monitor. There's all sorts of different things that you can do with it. But again, for a typical business user, there's really not that great of a use case for it. You can do just fine with what you have. But for somebody a visual pro, I could certainly see them wanting something like that. But again, it's a crazy price point for it.
Yep. I mean, at that point, it's you're kind of weighing the pros and cons. I mean, if I've got a desktop computer, my laptop, and I've got an iPad Pro, that's $4,000 investment between all of them. And if you get Apple Care, it's almost $5,000.
It's fun because basically then you wind up carrying around a laptop that may actually be worth more than your car. So it's an interesting thing to consider.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, and the one thing, and the iPad Pro, which I think is going to be really cool, and this will eventually trickle down to other devices. They're putting LiDAR in it. which will be able to measure and map using, I guess, lasers in your room to 3D map geometry. They were showing some cool stuff where you can actually like change the floor underneath you as you're making videos. So who knows what's going to happen to like the next TikTok videos using all the iPad Pros, and it'll be some really cool effects.
Really? $2,000 iPad for TikTok videos? I mean, come on. I was thinking a little bigger. I was thinking more like season 4 of The Mandalorian shot completely on iPads. That was where I was going with that.
Hey, listen, TikTok is a tremendous content creation platform.
Yes.
Don't knock it until you've wasted hours on it.
Horrible. Anyway. And there was one other thing that personally I was very excited to see as part of this little Apple event that they had this past week, and that was the announcement of season 2 of Ted Lasso. If you haven't watched the first season, it's incredible. Watch it. Honestly, the best show I've seen in the last year, and believe me, I've watched a whole hell of a lot of television in the last year.
I thought you were going to talk about the fact that you can give your kids credit cards now.
I'm not giving my children credit cards.
I'm not either.
Anyway, that's enough for this tech talk. We appreciate you tuning in. I'm Rob Barra.
And I'm Jeff Bromley.
Stay safe out there. Get your shots.